Joining me today, Lito. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let's just get right into it. The Suns have come out. Well, there are reports, not the Suns, but there are reports that they'll be actively shopping Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton this offseason. Obviously, we talked a little bit about DeAndre Ayton. I texted you earlier today. I said, talk me out of Chris Paul. Because I think my inner kid, my 15, when I was 16, 15, 16 years old, he made me fall in love with the New Orleans Hornets and Chris Paul and CP3, and those teams were so fun. That was my second favorite team, besides last year's team or 2 years ago. But he's now 38. He's got $30.8 million salary for 2023, 2024. It's partially guaranteed. So he's automatically going to get $15.8 million. The contract is fully guaranteed on June 28th, 2023. Should the Pelicans be even remotely interested in Chris Paul?
My flat out answer is no. The money, what was it? 15 mil?
Yeah, he's guaranteed 15.8.
He's guaranteed 15.8. The only way, I texted you this earlier, the only way that I could see them or me being, if I'm the Pelicans, me being interested in that is if they trade him to another team and the team buys him out and I get him on the low. For me, that would be the only way that I think I could be. I would feel good about it. The money and the age of the player, for me, it scares me away. But here's the thing: I'm not about to sit up here and act like Chris Paul isn't a useful player at his age. At 38, he's still. I think he had the 5th highest assist percentage this year. I think he was like 38.9%. Like as far as like assisting other players when he had the ball in his hands. He was like low in turnovers. I think he was like the 76th percentile, 10%, which is in the same category as De'Aaron Fox. You take that how you want, for better or for worse. He shot 37% from three. He was 83% from the line. I think he was like 52% on all mid-range jump shots. That'll be that's the other thing too. Like
fourth in the league in assists, average 9 assists.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the play style. Here's the cons. He can't beat his man anymore. Now, if we picking and rolling, if we using the pick to get him involved, like he's masterful. Right. But as far as like breaking his guy down, getting to the rim, he can't finish at the rim any longer either. But he's still masterful at mid-range jump shots. He can put smaller guards on his hip. He can take advantage of bigs and still like he's still crafty. But the money for me is not something that's going to make this work, unless there's a buyout involved.
Yeah, now, that's the only way.
That's the only way for me. That's the only way.
And then if he buys out, he has his choice of teams. So then if he's going to do that, why would he come to the Pelicans? I mean, I'm not like, you had mentioned a team before we got on the stream that makes a lot of sense.
He definitely going there.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Definitely. He's been destined to be a Laker since that was 2008.
Yeah, and when Kobe won them there. And
he's destined to be a Laker. And listen, I feel like, the thing is, if you asking for 35 minutes of Chris Paul, like he passed that. But if he could give you like a solid 12 to 15, maybe 18 minutes of him controlling the game, being a maestro of the ball. Now, I don't know how that works with LeBron, because we've seen Bron is a basketball ecosystem. He has to have the ball in his hands, and it's got to flow how it flows with him.
Yep.
So I don't know if, I don't know how that'll work. But I will say this: we have seen Chris Paul play off the ball before in Houston with James Harden, who was also a ball dominant player. And he showed you a shooting prowess that I don't know a lot of people think, know that he necessarily had. He was more of a volume guy at that point.
Well, look, David Griffin was offered. I don't know if it's on record or not, but David Griffin offered, I think, whatever that free agency period was 2 years ago, Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry. I think it was 3 years, $90 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul turned down, went back to Phoenix. So obviously David Griffin has some interest in Chris Paul. But to
How
your
much did he
point,
get from? What he got from Phoenix? Do you remember?
it is looking at it right now. Chris Paul got he got 4 years. 4 years, 120 mil, but
Yeah,
20, but it's back like 2023, 2024 is partially guaranteed, and next year it's not even guaranteed.
yeah. I know next year
He's
is
an
not
unrestricted free agent of
guaranteed.
40. The one thing that Chris Paul's a great player. Like you're right, he's past his prime. What does he bring to the team? Right, he would bring leadership. He's not going to be a starting point guard. He's way past that. But a guy can control the offense, locker room presence, things like that. But as you said, I completely agree with you. I don't think you can because one, the money doesn't match up. And I
Right.
don't even know what if he is bought out, what does even a contract look like for him in the free agent market? Because I don't.
I think
Geez.
that if you Chris Paul, and I mean you on a
No
you on
way
the back.
someone trades for him and takes that contract. There's no way. I think the
I mean,
Suns are handcuffed.
I don't really see a way that they would do it. I don't know why you would do it because I mean, like I said, all the contending teams are just gonna get them on a buyout anyway.
Right.
That is how that market goes. But for me, if you Chris Paul, like you said earlier, like you're gonna have your pick if you are bought out. You're gonna have your pick of where you can go, and I think for a guy who's on the backside of his career, I think he's probably like trying to find a home, a championship, team.
Right.
That's the thing that that's the only thing his resume is missing. Me personally, look, this is not in regards to that. I don't like ring culture. I don't think Chris Paul needs a ring, honestly, to solidify anything for me. I feel that way about a lot of players. Like the team wins rings. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your individual performance. But yeah, man, I can see him going to the Lakers. Hell, you never know, man. Chris Paul can end up in Golden State. Like he could end up. It, you know what I'm saying?
He's going to be a bench role guy. Like I think he has to accept that. Like he's going to have to accept that. I'm pretty sure.
I kind of feel like it depends on the team though, because again, if you put him on a team with like that LeBron is also in the twilights, but like it is a different kind of twilight. LeBron is different.
LeBron's like Brady. Yeah,
Yeah, like
there is no twilight. Like
yeah,
just,
Bron is gonna be playing basketball T45 for
right.
sure. I can see it. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like in a situation with Steph and I don't know how now this is the thing with Golden State. Like, I don't know how you bring in Draymond and Clay back because if you have Draymond and Chris and you have Draymond, Chris, Steph, like I don't know. It just seems a little redundant. I don't know.
Yeah,
Doesn't really
I don't
make sense to me.
I don't know. You're like the more we talk about it, like a lot of less teams out there than I thought. Another guy we talked about him a little bit, Lido, but tell me why DeAndre Ayton wouldn't make sense for this team because once again, a lot of people called him soft. I know we talked about that a week ago.
Yeah.
And it's his contract. It's 32. He's making 32 this year, 34 next year, 35 in 2025, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, with the Pelicans, you can't. It's gonna be really hard to match that salary, especially with somebody who's kind of hurt his stock a little bit there in the postseason.
I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is the salary. I think it's 132 guaranteed, and I think it's evens out to about 33 a year.
Yeah.
132
guaranteed. Ooh.
I just I don't.
That's that contract. Ooh.
I don't know why they matched it. That is something that Phoenix is gonna have to answer. That situation it looks toxic. It doesn't look like it works. That there is nobody. DeAndre doesn't want to be there. Phoenix doesn't want him there.
Indiana wanted him, right?
They did. They could have. They could have just did the sign and trade.
So, do you think that's a possible? We talked about Miles Turner a lot. A lot of people don't like Miles Turner. Some people do like Miles Turner. Do you see that being a swap? Because I don't know if that actually
swap for Phoenix.
Yeah, I gotta see that contract.
I mean, he's a better rim protector than Ayton. He's not as good a rebounder.
Who do you like in Ayton's game? 20 mil for Miles Turner.
I'm gonna be honest. I say this often. When we played them, when the Pelicans, or when the Pelicans played him, he looked like David Robinson. He looked like every bit of a dominant mid-range short roll pick and pop big that like would translate in today's NBA. And I don't know if it's a situation. I could see Ayton going somewhere else and blooming into
God,
what he's
can't you
supposed to
too?
become. I mean, he's what, 24 years old?
I know he's 24 years old.
24 years old. Like, I don't think the story is written on him. I
It's
think the
just the
situation is
contract.
bad. It's the contract. It seems like him and Monty doesn't get along. I'm sure he has issues with Chris. Him and Book probably have, and then you bring in KD, is less touches for him
Right.
now, right? So, I mean, then he got a lot of blame in the playoffs. They played against Jokic. I mean, Jokic is Jokic. It don't matter who. It could be Jesus defending him. Like, he's gonna turn water to wine on Jesus. It don't matter what
Right.
you do to him. It's a tough situation. I mean, me personally, listen, if it wasn't 132 guarantee, I'd be down for it. Because the
Yeah.
thing with the Pelicans, I don't know how I don't know how they would not be able to match the salary, especially with them trading Devontae Graham.
Well, yeah, you
Who,
give up a lot. Yeah. You'd have to give up JV, Larry, probably Temple, and maybe Hayes.
Kyra.
I know you're giving up like 5 players, and then I'm sure you can like throw in some draft picks, but still, it doesn't. Because
Don't
Garrett
feel good.
Temple, because we talked about this, Garrett Temple, and I think when we re-signed Jackson Hayes, those contracts will actually be valuable to move, either at the All-Star break. But yeah,
I'm not for it. In the words of Lexi Brown, again, he's soft. Why he's too big? Why does he play that way? I don't really. To be honest, I feel like I want JV to stay personally. Like, that's my personal opinion of the situation, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And I've low key talked myself into Miles Turner already. Like, it just seems inevitable at this
it
point.
really does.
They just seem forever linked. He seems linked to this organization, and they seem linked to him. Which, I mean, look, if you get a guy, I don't remember what Miles shot, but I think it was mid-30s, 35,
Yeah.
like 36 or something like that from 3. Who will provide rim protection, and he'll have like a pit bull in Herb on defense who will funnel guys to him and probably make his job a lot easier. He didn't have that type of defender in Indiana. He's never had that type of defender actually with him throughout his career. And Herb has never had that type of shot blocker behind him. So, it could be a match that could be made in heaven. I mean, I honestly, like, I've sat back and I've talked myself into this. And then like here's the other thing, right? You got a bunch of mid-range shooters on your team, which is why the Chris Paul thing won't work for me, because like now you got 4 guys.
Now you're adding another guy into. That's a really good point.
You got
I mean, I've been off. I didn't think we should go after Chris Paul. Just because the money, the age, whatever. I do like the idea of Chris Paul, but in reality, when you put, I'm not saying they'd be sharing the court at the same time, but another mid-range guy,
it just
doesn't make sense.
You know what you just said? I like the idea of Chris Paul too, but you know what? You know what that translates to me? Is the idea of DeAndre Ayton also. I like what I think he could be.
Right. You like it. It's kind of like Jackson. Like, you love Jackson. Like, you love seeing what Jackson can do, but the reality of the situation right now is like, fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen. The other thing with Miles, I guess, is that, I mean, you got a guy, you got BI who plays the mid. Zion takes a lot of that. He takes a lot of that. The paint away. He operates down there, especially on the left side, right? So you got a guy in BI who shoots middies. You got a guy in CJ who shoots middies. You could literally, the thing with Miles is Miles could take the rebounder away and stash him on the perimeter. And
did you just talk us into Miles Turner?
I think I did. I'm telling you, man, I've been doing my research. Like, I've been watching. I went back and I watched games. I watched it. I think one of the games he went for 40 on us.
He destroyed us. Yeah,
and he literally just had JV sitting on the perimeter. And they were running pick and pops for him, like, where he was just coming off that shit like the shooter. Because, I mean, he is a shooter. And I'm
his contract's easily gettable too.
again, I feel like it's destined to be like this. This is one of the things. It's like a snowball and crawfish. Like they just go together.
Snowball and crawfish. What kind of snowball? What flavor are we talking
Man,
here?
I'm going right to Hanson's and I'm going to get a wedding cake, cream of wedding cake. I'm going to get nectar.
I go with
Condensed.
ice cream from Hanson's right down the street.
Yeah, man. Get the strawberries and the pineapples on top though. You got it.
Wow.
It's an event.
There's
You
a
can't
whole
just
thing. All right, we're not on Chris Paul, we're not on DeAndre Ayton, Miles Turner. You're gonna be a New Orleans Pelican. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear your thoughts on if the Pelicans should be interested in Chris Paul. Talk to y'all later.